power. And okay, on the one side, Singapore probably more than Malaysia, but they would discover a mass grave. And then, okay, the Japanese really have to give us something more to compensate for that. But at the same time, there was the trade with Japan. And if you keep attacking and attacking and attacking on this, about what happened during the occupation, then you can damage what's going on in the present. So to that, in that sense, perhaps there was a reluctance to talk about it.
And also, if you start talking about it, the people who are the left wing, especially the anti-AJA and the Malayan People's Communist Party, will say they are the ones who actually were the only ones who fought against the Japanese. Of course, the Malays, the Watania, and the others also had, but they said they played a pivotal role. In fact, somebody asked about the interaction during the 2 weeks. It was the MCP who came out and said, "We won, we beat them." So the thing is, for the Kuala Lumpur government, this is going to be very sensitive of glorifying Jinping and all the critics. And also, as Paul said about the good relations with Japan, is the new and the past. Well, whatever happened, most unfortunate. So now it's not to say it's sensitive, but also scholars regarding materials, documents, etc. It's not that easy. And people don't, the interviews or whatever, sometimes people are a bit reluctant. Being humans, we like to say about nice things. The dark things we tend to, well, put somewhere in our hard drive or we forget. I mean, it's quite normal for humans, so people don't like to recollect these things to a certain extent.
I suppose I might as well say something else for the record. There was a man named Dobry who was parachuted into Perak, and he was sent in to set up a Malay anti-Japanese resistance unit. He's published a book, and oddly enough, it first came out in Malay, and then later on an English version was published, but the Malay title was Ujang Panas Bawa Bencana. But what he says in that book is that he was specifically sent in to set up a Malay resistance unit so that the Chinese, so that the MPAJ could not take total credit as the only resistance in the country. He said, we were never expected to fight, we were never expected to do anything, but it was going to be important for post-war politics that there would be some Malay unit that could be brought forward. Now, if you look at the Malaysian textbooks today, the Chinese have disappeared from it, and it's become an entirely Malay resistance, which I think is very strange.
Okay, I think one last question, because it's over the schedule and we are supposed to stop at 10.
I joined the Indian National Army and moved to Singapore for training. And after the war, I came back. I was not sent to Burma. I was sent back to Ipoh to help train soldiers in Ipoh for the Indian National Army. And when the war ended, I was in Singapore and came back again. So many of the things that you said, Professor, was very interesting. Life was hard. But if you kept away from the Japanese, you could carry on. I had lots of Chinese friends in my class. I was sorry for the Chinese. We lived in Ipoh then. But I was interested in what you were saying about the Japanese idea of co-prosperity,
Greater East Asia
co-prosperity area and so on. And I must say that when the war was going to come, we knew there was going to be war here. The British were preparing for it. In fact, when I was in Standard 8, our school was occupied for one term by the British troops, so we had to go to school in the afternoon, the Methodist the girls' school, and so on. So, but I personally, and some of my Chinese friends felt this time the British were taught a lesson. And of course, the Japanese came, the Chinese paid for it for the support of the fight that the Chinese were carrying on against the Japanese. And I think the large number of the, I'm not, it is not evidence-based. All I have to say is, as far as I was concerned, because my father came from India, and he did look back to India. Perhaps I also did at that point in time. And of course, I was influenced a great deal by the writings of Nehru at that point in time. And therefore, you know, it was easy for me to take up arms to free India. This is the Chinese, or the Japanese came, collected money to help their country. So actually we all think in creation terms. Perhaps Japanese, when they came in here, they realized the larger populations was Malay, and they were trying to do a divide policy as well. Okay. But what I like to know, Professor, is can you separate what Japanese try to do here from the influence, if any, of what is happening in Europe? The rise of Hitler and the fascist regime, the regime there. And you know, at that point in time, I believe, this was right, you know, there was this idea of dividing up the world again amongst the Germans and the Japanese also looked back at that. Wasn't that point as well?
And of what's happening in Europe, and the fact that the European powers would not be able to respond to a Japanese movement in Southeast Asia in the same way they might had nothing been going on in Europe. So to that extent, yes. Whether there was some grand design saying, okay, we're going to control this much of the world, and I'm sure somebody thought of that, but I don't think that's a very realistic plan, because each country, especially the distance between what's going on in Europe and what's going on in Japan, it's essentially too complex, driven by two different sets of considerations. I think the point that you're making, though, about the loyalties of people, not just the Chinese sending money to China, but actually many young Chinese going back and fighting, it makes it seem very odd that the post-war narrative about what happened here is so much echoing the kind of Allied propaganda line. The Japanese did a terrible thing by coming in. I'm sure that everyone's seen it, but you look at the school textbooks after the war, it echoes the propaganda line taken by the Allies. And this isn't to say that I'm suggesting what the Japanese did was right. It's more that there's not a very balanced understanding of this. And I work with Japanese scholars who, they generally think that bad things were done and the Japanese population needs to face up to it. But at the same time, they also are taking the position that this doesn't mean we simply have to accept the narrative that comes out of Britain or the United States about what happened. There's really a need to forge a different understanding.
So I think I'd like to thank Dr. Paul Kratoska for an interesting talk, and to thank Penang Heritage Trust and Penang Story for I think it was a wonderful and fruitful session for all of us involved. Thanks very much.
I'd like to thank the audience too.
So before we adjourn to get refreshment, we have some mementos of two great gentlemen. We'd like to invite Dato' Plaza, the chairman of the Think City and also trustee of the Heritage Trust, to present some gift for our guests. First, I'd like to invite Yes, sir. Give it to Dr. Paul. And it's 3 of you. Thank you very much. Professor Lee. Thank you very much. And yeah, we have some refreshment outside. And don't forget, I think the month of December, mid-December 15, right? We have another Penang story. 16. It's the connection between Yangon, that's in Myanmar, with Penang. So it will be another very interesting talk. Email. Okay. Yeah, if you are not in our email list, please you can register your email at our desk. And they also books the selling. Please. Yeah. Thank you very much.